This morning, we'll be looking at the zero tolerance for unemployment and the Yoruba nation. And by no means, the guest speaker for this morning session is Professor Wale OYEMAKINDE. Of course, is also a renowned scholar of economic history. And I'm sure that we're going to benefit tremendously from his presentation. But before then, I want to invite the Director General of Dawn Commission. We want to do that to welcome us specially to this garden. Please, a round of applause for the Director General. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 8th edition of Yoruba Historical Conversation. The idea was very simple. Let us connect our past to our present in order for us to have a beautiful future. That was the idea, and primarily we targeted the younger population because we felt that they are the ones that do not understand what our history or where we started from. And as much as possible, it has become part of some people's calendar. They look forward to this. We decided a few weeks ago that from this edition we will take it out of the office, and I'm not sure there can be a better venue here in Western Nigeria than this venue. This is the House of Chiefs for those that remember the history of the Western region. House of Chiefs, this is where the traditional rulers who then had a say in the governance of our people. This was where they congregated. Then we had the House of Parliament over there, but this was the House of Chiefs for the Obas. And I took time to read some of the deliberations that happened here over time, and this is truly, you are sitting in a truly historic building. It's a shame that we relegated our traditional rulers to the background, but that's a story for another day. I won't get involved in that because I have my views. But as I said, on behalf of my colleagues at Dawn Commission, welcome to the 8th edition. Welcome to, I'm sure you, as my colleague again said, we've learned from the 7 previous scholars, and when our consultant on this project told us about today's speaker and the topic Baba chose, we felt this is so germane. I mean, zero tolerance to unemployment and the Yoruba nation. We see it every day. Unemployment, youths roaming around the streets. A lot of them are unemployed. Some are unemployable because they are 2 different things entirely. A lot of them are flaunting their degrees around, but they have no use to themselves because they have the training that they came out with. We are employers, and we come across a lot of these young graduates. By the time you even start with them, from mere looking at their CVs, you will tell them that, look, we are not going to do this interview. Let me even help you write your CV so that when you go somewhere else, it is that bad, the quality of what we are throwing out. So when you say that, people, and there are no jobs out there, are you actually relevant for the moment? I gave an example of a friend who was looking for 40 young people on a project to work on a coding project. Those that write codes, the IT people will understand what I'm saying. He wanted people below the age of, he said 35. And he wanted 40 people for a major project in Lagos. He was able to get 7 out of the 40. And he had to go abroad to bring the rest for what he wanted. Now, the guys they brought from abroad, 90% of them were Nigerians, don't get me wrong. But a lot of them were over 45. 45 and above. Meanwhile, he targeted the younger population. He couldn't get them. So it shows that we have a problem. So when I come into work in the morning and I see young men and women just milling around the vendor, doing nothing, you know we have a problem. Our population is growing every day. We've been told that the Southwest will double in population in about 25 years' time. So if we're 40 million today, in about 25 years' time, we've been told we'll be 80 million. We've not even prepared, we are not catering for the 40 million. How do we plan for the 80? So we have a challenge, and I'm looking forward to today's lecture, and also hoping that we can start addressing that major time bomb that is where we're sitting on. Millions of youth coming out every day at every level, secondary school, polytechnics, universities, and there's no hope for them. I see graduates 7 years out of university, no job. 7 years out of a man's life, no job. So it is a challenge, and I'm actually looking forward to this lecture to be delivered. I mean, my colleague will do Baba's citation, but I want you to please, as much as possible, and Baba has actually done something which is a first. Baba came with his lecture printed in a book form. Please, let's give Baba a round of applause for that. And so we hope to circulate that after the lecture. The future of Nigeria is in your hands. And it excites me when I see the younger generation turning up for things like this. I know we're in the age of social media where everything is, you become an expert on a one-line tweet. Nobody reads. You only need to tweet one line and you become an expert on that subject. But for taking time out to come and listen to a lecture, it's not, or how do I use the word? It's not cool for your generation anymore. All you want to listen to is music or whatever. But you are here. It shows the value you've placed on a thing like this. Yesterday we had some 16-year-olds in our office from Lagos, and it gave me hope that we can still get it right. I mean, the level of engagement from those 16-year-olds who came from Lagos is quite fantastic. And as I said, we only need to continue with things like this. We shouldn't relent. We shouldn't get tired. We shouldn't say, oh, how many people came? No. Even if it's 5 people that came, we will continue. We will keep hammering it until this becomes a culture again. When I was in the university a few decades ago in Ife, we didn't have social media, we didn't have internet. We look forward to things like this. We'll sit down, listen, engage them. That culture must be brought back. It's a must. If we want, readers are leaders. It's as simple as that. If we get it right, we have a future. Once again, I thank you for coming, and we look forward to a wonderful time. I want to invite my colleague Tayo Adeleke Adedoyin to come and give Baba citation, and we go in straight away. Thank you very much once again.
Good morning, everyone, and I'd like to welcome you once again to another edition of the Yoruba Historical Conversations. It is only fit and proper that we are having this edition in the historic building for historical purposes. I was looking around and, I thought the seats are not all filled, which normally should be and which we promise we will try all our best to make sure that the next edition seats are filled. But if you're sat And you look to your right, there's no one next to you, and to your left, there's no one. Do not despair. The spirits of our ancestral fathers, the ex-Alafins and ex-Olubadans, they're probably seated next to you. So they're not ghosts, they're just here because this is their home. What I'm here to do is a brief profile of Professor Wale OYEMAKINDE. If I was to read his citation, I'll probably take longer than the time allotted to me. So what we do here is we try to just capture the essence of his being in a few words. Professor Wale OYEMAKINDE was born on the 22nd of December 1942 in Ibadan. He attended the University of Ibadan for his bachelors and Ph.D. and also earned a master's degree in economics from the University of Wisconsin. He also got professional qualifications and a diploma from the Fellowship of Historical Society of Nigeria in 2005 and the Associateship of Chartered Institute of Arbitrators in 2014. Professor OYEMAKINDE is a member of various learned societies, including the Historical Society of Nigeria since 1962, Nigerian Economic Society since 1967, National and International Panel on Advanced Level Economic History Syllabus Review 1970, which he served on, and 1971 respectively as the chairman. He was installed the Ashiwaju of Hawaii in January 1993 and the Are Agobarin of Ibadan land in February of 1993. He was at one time the chairman, Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, 1992 to 1993, Water Corporation of Oyo State, 2011 and 2013, and as he was the editor-in-chief for the Journal of History and Diplomatic Studies, OBAF OOU, Olabisi Onabanjo University since 2004, and the Babcock Journal of History and International Studies since 2014. In over 47 years of university teaching, the first 6 as a lecturer, the next 6 as a senior lecturer, and the next 5 as reader, and the last 30 as professor, he has handled various courses in quantitative methods, economic development, economic history of Africa, international relations, international law, political ideas, history of industrial societies, Nigerian history and African history at both undergraduate and postgraduate levels. He has been a pioneer in the field of African economic history. He was generally in charge of postgraduate studies in the Department of History at the University of Ibadan, and he directed the postgraduate workshop which provided a forum for training our postgraduate students in historical research and writing from 1975 to 1980. He has written many scholarly books and learned articles in the area of economic history. He has done extensive research on topics which include the Nigerian railway labor force, agricultural development in Nigeria, haulage and mobility by rail in Nigeria, the growth of markets in Nigeria, and Nigeria's earliest indigenous banks. He has also written numerous published books from 1980 to 2015 and about 26 articles in learned journals. An academic whose understanding of production, trade, and their relations with history, law, custom, and government, as well as distribution of national income and wealth. His focus of research is on the Nigerian economic situation. Having thoroughly studied its agrarian foundation, discussed the nature and structure of its growth, and traced its industrial endeavors, his work has been critical to understanding the contribution of rail to the development of the vocational elite, markets and trade, and the emergence of an enlightened, modernizing community. The dynamics of labor organizations and collective bargaining on income profiles and the consequences of a salaried class into the domestic economy are also areas where the professor has beamed his intellectual light. Professor OYEMAKINDE has also deep dived into the role of the aristocracy in the capital formation and resource allocation. Professor's approach has gone beyond considering historical research merely for the sake of knowledge to seeking relevance in terms of utilization for policy prescriptions, particularly from perspectives of economic history, political economy, and finance. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, join me as I welcome our guest historian for today, Professor Wale OYEMAKINDE.
tí ẹ gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ àgbà bí ó ṣe lówùrọ̀ ó pẹ́ títí àṣẹ lọ́jọ́.